Mouse. Say, you want to come inside my clubhouse?
Yes. I said yes!
Well, all right. Let's go.
He can't hear you.
You're telling me his reaction time was extremely delayed, but then again, I guess I would have hearing problems too if I was an 87-year-old mouse.
What are you doing anyway?
Since I'm now 1 year old, I found that most kids my age watch programs like this to help them grow mentally and give them a sense of creativity and good morale. That's why I've been watching Disney Junior on your laptop for the past 3 hours.
Yeah, well, that better be all you do. That laptop cost me $1,300, so I don't need you to destroy that one too. Wait a minute, what's Disney Junior?
It's that morning program on Disney Channel that plays preschool shows.
So, you mean like Playhouse Disney?
What's Playhouse Disney?
Well, back in my day, we had Playhouse Disney, which had a lot of really great and memorable shows. I noticed that nowadays, some shows seem to cater more towards boys or girls, but back then, a lot of the shows could cater to both. Allow me to explain.
I'd rather watch my show, but I've got a feeling you're going to tell me anyway.
That's right, so... Hello everybody, this is the M-Crew Dude, and it's time to look back on some of the great shows that defined our early childhood. The block began on May 8th, 1997, and officially ended on February 13th, 2011 in America. When it first started, the exclusive shows they had were critically praised and loved by children and families. But at the time, the block also had a lot of acquired programming such as Madeline, Chip 'n Dale's Rescue Rangers, and yes, even Henry's Amazing Animals. The shows did a decent job in inspiring our creativity and sense of wonder at a young age. And that is why I'd like to take a moment to look back and honor them. This is Playhouse Disney from the 90s. Starting off with the show that I probably watched the most of as a kid, Rolie, Polie, Olie. It was one of the earliest CG animated TV shows, and the first to be made for preschool children. The show lasted 6 seasons, and they even showed reruns on Disney Junior. The premise is that in the galaxy of geometric shapes, a family of robots with round body parts live on one of the planets. Our main character is Olie Polie, a young boy robot who lives with his parents, sister, grandpa, and dog inside of a teapot-shaped house. Each television episode consists of 3 individual stories that have very basic and straightforward plots, and that's what I really admire about it. It doesn't try to do anything huge and just sort of keeps a steady pace, while occasionally teaching small lessons here and there. The characters are also very colorful and well-rounded, pardon the pun. Olie is a very inquisitive and optimistic character, and serves as a good relatable protagonist. His sister Zoe is played up to be a little annoying, but I can excuse that since she's just a little kid. Olie also spends a lot of time with his best friend Billy, who's a cube robot from a cube planet. What is this, the galaxy, the dumping grounds for Dr. Eggman's failed prototypes? I should also mention that everything in this world has a face, as I'm sure you've noticed by now. The house, the grill, the clock, even the planets. It's like No Man's Sky if it was developed by Pee Wee Herman. In terms of how this show holds up, I'd say that it's still a classic. The animation still looks okay, the plot lines are simple and domestic, and some people even say that the show was ahead of its time, and I agree. A lot of elements remain timeless, but sometimes the dialogue can come across as dated from time to time, but that's not always a bad thing. I should also mention that 3 TV movies were released alongside the original run of the show, and while I've only seen one of them, I would say that the franchise as a whole is still relevant and welcoming of new viewers, so I would easily recommend it for kids. Another well-remembered show that wasn't quite as popular is PB&J Otter.
That sounds disgusting.
This simple show only lasted 3 seasons and also showed reruns on Disney Junior. The show is about a family of otters who live in the town of Lake Hoo-Ha. I say town, but it's more like a bunch of houseboats. Our main characters are Peanut, Baby Butter, and Jelly Otter, and each episode follows them on a short adventure. There are 2 smaller stories per episode, but unlike Rolie Polie Olie, I feel like the pacing is a little too rushed at times. Because a lot of the episodes just kind of drop you in the middle of something without much build-up or explanation. I will say that the lessons are usually pretty basic, but that's not to say that some of them weren't well told, because I actually thought some of them were handled pretty good, like how it can be okay to cry sometimes, and that organization is important. Another problem I have to admit I have is that in each episode, the kids attempt to come up with a solution to the problem by doing a noodle dance. No matter how many times Peanut tries to resist, even he can't fight the urge. While fun, I never understood how dancing can help solve a problem, and most of the time it doesn't. They usually come up with a solution by talking to their parents or by working as a team. That's all good, but I never got the message as a kid, and I doubt others did either. The songs are actually a lot of fun and original, and I like that because, think about it, there was a lot more originality in the 90s than there is today. The main characters are a lot of fun and relatable, and so are the supporting characters, such as two snooty poodle kids named Ootsy and Bootsy, a couple of raccoons named Pinch and Scooch, a nervous beaver named Munchie, a self-centered duck named Flick, and the kindly mare Jeff, just to name a few. The show still has a fun nostalgic charm to it, and I still enjoyed returning to it after all these years. Not bad by any means, but there are still more inspiring shows out there. I don't hate it, okay? There are already 12 fandoms calling for my crucifixion, so I don't need another one. But, in addition to all of their animated shows, they did have a couple live-action ones as well. Of course they had the Imagination Movers and the Wiggles, who both gained a lot of popularity. But then you have the Doodlebops, who are freaky, and should be set on fire to end their reign of satanic magic and reanimation of the dead.
No one will know my suffering.
The first live-action show that wasn't as popular but still loved by many was Out of the Box. This show actually won 3 Parents' Choice Awards, and it's easy to see why with its well-rounded presentation and structure. The premise is that a man named Tony and a woman named Vivian often get together with a bunch of kids in their neighborhood and hang out inside of a playhouse that they built out of cardboard boxes. Inside the box, they use their imagination because how else did it look smaller from the outside? I have to give them this. The set design is awesome. It really shows how much care and effort went into building it. Each episode also has a particular theme, and it's always fun to listen to how enthusiastic everyone is.
And today we're going to have a spooktacular time because it's Halloween!
We'll put on costumes and go trick-or-treating in the clubhouse.
We'll even make our own Halloween decorations.
Then we'll play out a story about a little witch who saves a Halloween party.
Golly gee, that sure sounds like a lot of fun! In each episode, they usually sing songs at the beginning followed by arts and crafts, and this is what I really liked about it as a kid. For a while, I even remember that Tony and Vivian did a special where they would show step-by-step instructions how to create some of the cool crafts, and it's a time when art was the main focus of the show rather than the music. At the end, they would act out some kind of fun play relevant to the theme, and I thought this was actually kind of cool, but then again, anything would be fun with a crowd like this. I swear, I will never remember a single word from my algebra class, but I will always remember the goodbye song that they would sing at the end.
So long, farewell to you, my friends. Goodbye for now, until we meet again. I say so long, farewell to you, my friends. Goodbye for now, until we meet again. It's been great to play and sing together
In the box.
and now it's time to say goodbye. So long, farewell to you, my friends. Goodbye for now, until we meet again. Goodbye for now, until we meet again.
It was a show full of fun and creativity, but they also taught us the importance of using our imagination. Finally, I would like to end with the show that I probably loved the most as a kid, Bear in the Big Blue House. This show was developed by the Jim Henson Company, who of course is best known for The Muppets. After the franchises were sold to Disney in 2004, the popularity really began to take off and lasted until 2006. Most people have fond memories of this show, and so do I, because everything about it was so lighthearted and fun. The show is about a large bear simply named Bear, and each episode he invites the viewer into his blue house. I mean, just look at him. He has got to be the most lovable and huggable character ever to grace television. He always acts like a kindly father figure to his friends, so a lot of kids, myself included, really admired him for that. So at the beginning of each episode, Bear greets you at the door.
Oh, hi! It's you! You're just in time, and it's so good to see you. Come on in. Wait a minute. What's that smell?
Hey, you smelt it, you dealt it.
It's you!
Oh, that's a relief. For a moment there I was worried you had a gas leak or something. Oh, wait, what?
You smell so good, and I'm so curious. Tell me, did you just wake up? 'Cause you have that just woken up smell.
Hey man, I don't know who you've been sniffing lately, but I usually wake up smelling like sweat and beer. And occasionally something else. So Bear then goes to talk to his friends, who are usually doing something fun or having some kind of problem. His friends are a blue mouse named Tutter, a green lemur named Trilo, a bear cub named Ojo, and 2 purple otters named Pip and Pop. Why is purple such a common color for otters in these shows? Each episode revolves around a theme, such as sharing, water, sleep, and yes, there was even an episode about using the potty. This show also has the most viewer interaction out of the others I've talked about, and there's even a few moments when Bear asks a few questions, and then it cuts to a public poll with children. Other segments of the show include stories with another character named Shadow, occasional talks with the sun whose name is Ray, and then each episode ends with Bear talking to the moon named Luna and telling her about the day he just had. What I loved about the show is that it really made you feel like you were part of the adventure, like you were really visiting Bear's house for the day. But all that changed in later seasons when Disney had most of the control. The setting changed from Bear's house to the entire town of Woodland Valley. To be fair, the story behind its namesake is so funny that I'd rather not spoil it, but I feel like it took away from the intention. It felt more personal to visit Bear's house rather than leaving the house to go to a ball game with him, going grocery shopping, or helping him file his tax returns or whatever. I haven't seen enough of the later seasons to give them a non-biased review, but at least the show had a fantastic run until its sad cancellation. After the voice actor who played Luna, Lynn Thigpen, passed away due to a cerebral hemorrhage in 2003, the show was put on a long hiatus and was even a spin-off show called Breakfast with Bear. When the show resumed, no one's heart was in it anymore after Thigpen's death, but at least the show left behind a great and memorable legacy. So I hope you understand what kids' shows were like back then, Gary.
Sure, Dad. But now, I would like to get back to watching Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
Okay, but first, would you like to join me for a goodbye song?
Why not?
Hey, this was really fun.
We hope you liked it too.
Seems like we've just begun.
When suddenly we're through.
Goodbye, goodbye, good friends, goodbye. 'Cause now it's time to go. But hey, I say, well that's okay.
'Cause we'll see you very soon, I know.
Very soon I know. Goodbye, goodbye, good friends, goodbye. And tomorrow, just like today, the dude, the spider, and the YouTube channel will be waiting for you to come subscribe.
To come subscribe.
To come subscribe. Bye now. Thank you for watching. This is the M Crew Dude signing off, wishing you all a very pleasant day. Oh! And stay beautiful.
We've got some friends that you'd love to meet.
Yeah.
Places that you'd love to go to.
Oh, yeah.
Say hello to Bear in the big blue house. Blue and Olie too. Playhouse, Disney. That's where I wanna be. That's where we wanna be. Playhouse, Disney. Imagine what we can learn. Let's get up and go out of the box. A little time is fun. Learning and adventure in the Stanley too. Come on and dance with the Wiggles every.
My favorite thing about brushing my teeth is shaka 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 shaka. My favorite thing about brushing my teeth is shaka 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 shaka.